So, what are we making today?
We are making shakshuka.
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 We cut the peppers first, right?
Yeah.
You want me to cut the peppers?
I can do it. I can trade off after your ill-fated pepper cutting.
Which one?
The one that you touched the seeds too much.
Ah!
Remember that?
My red pepper hands incident.
Mm-hmm.
Which burned more than anything I've ever felt in my entire life.
More than 12 hours.
That was miserable. Did your dad didn't really help? Or did your dad help?
No. I think the most I saw my dad ever make in the kitchen was when we would watch UNC basketball games. We would take saltines and milk and sugar, and it would kind of turn into this like slurry, and that's what we ate to watch basketball.
When's the last time you did that, do you think?
A long time ago. He does breakfast though. He is like the kind of king.
That's true. Is that something that your parents had a conscious discussion about, or do you think it was just because of expectations of the times, or what they were doing when they got married?
Yeah, I don't know. My mom just did everything.
Yeah. But it is interesting thinking about whether or not your parents talked about that, because I feel like now it is very much like a discussion you're meant to have.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like for our parents it was just kind of an assumption that women would.
I think roles have changed, so dramatically, even in the one generation. I think there was much more of kind of just an expectation that...
It's probably where you're growing up, too, or where you are. Our moms and my dad are all from the same area, so I think there especially it very much was this idea that that was kind of what the woman did. And but my mom didn't work, full-time until we were a little bit older. And she did, I would say, like, the lion's share of housework. But once she started teaching, she said my dad really did help a lot more. Which especially given how he was raised, my pop-up didn't really. It's also interesting that that's something that we commend, is guys who help around the house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just really interesting. And I don't know that there's like a right way. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's wrong if a woman does all of the work, but maybe it's more about how she feels about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. I think we at once commended, but I think that also, even what were you watching? Big Little Lies the other day?
Yeah.
And the two characters are talking, and he takes real offense that he was even insinuating that he was kind of the prototypical 21st century man that works from home, takes care of the kids, does those things. I think there's still a tension. Mm-hmm. 2 tablespoons? Is that right?
2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons. There you go.
But I do think something that's been interesting for me, being married, is feeling like there is almost this... Well, and I think people always told me, I'm good at cooking, I'm good at baking, just this kind of domestic strength. And I have felt, I think you're better at cooking than I am, but I have done more of it.
Yeah.
So that's just been really interesting, I think.
It's funny. Well, it's funny, too. I think I so enjoy cooking, but only when it's not a spectacle, but when it's, kind of a very, intentional thing.
Yeah.
And so I think, I did that for us, even, dating, things like that. And then I think when it came time to just do, it's a Thursday, you're running low on time, you just have to throw something together. It's I don't want to do that.
Yeah, bait and switch.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
That's what happened.
But yeah, I do think that's funny because you love, when we were dating, you did cook a lot, and you loved cooking, you talked about cooking being this hobby.
Yeah.
But when it is more utilitarian.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of mundane.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
Probably. We can always test the spice.
You can always add
taste the spice.
Yeah.
You can't take out the spice, but you can.
Oh, we learned that. I'll never forget the first time I did this with full,
that was horrible. My Pennsylvania Dutch taste buds can't handle it.
I could hardly. That was
bad.
Potent.
Did you have shakshuka growing up?
No.
When's the first time you think you had shakshuka?
I don't think it was at Tate, though I've had it there many times. But I think it was at someone's house. But then, I mean, with Tate having it just so kind of consistently, I had it there a couple times. But I probably made it more than I've had it, eating out.
Yeah.
Did you have it before turkey?
No.
Okay.
And I didn't even know shakshuka. I didn't know about shakshuka by name until after I had moved back.
Right.
After living there. I had no idea it was Tunisian originally. That's not what I would have guessed. It's really interesting what people ask me about, oh, Turkey, did you have falafel? Or I feel like there's really limited understanding about specific cuisines within that region of the world, which is a shame because I feel like there are little treasures that each have. And especially Turkish food, I think there are a lot of dishes that aren't as broadly known as other Middle Eastern dishes. But this shakshuka is cool because I feel like almost every Middle Eastern culture has a dish like this, where it's you throw things in a pot. It's really easy. But what I love about the way that we've done shakshuka is that it's very communal. Like you eat out of the big pot. This is getting kind of charred.
Oh, this is...
Oh my god. And a blackened shakshuka.
That actually might be good.
It might actually, it's like fire roasted tomatoes.
Exactly.
Or peppers.
That's really good.
This simmers down quite a bit before you add the eggs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this takes a little bit. I can make coffee too.
I'm kind of sad because I feel like bread is my thing.
It is.
It's what I could have brought to the table.
That's one of the early things I had that you had made, was the bread for the pulled pork dinner that we did.
I wooed you with my bread. But I do like that you like cooking and I like baking. That's something that I always really appreciated.
Yeah, that worked out. Now menemen, it's more scrambled than we make this, right?
Yeah. It's much more, I feel like this, and I'm sure shakshuka can be obviously very different too. This is just one way to make it. But this, I feel like, is more focus on the tomatoes and the peppers. I feel like in menemen, there's just more egg.
Yeah. And
a lot of times there's different types of meat.
Oh, really?
In menemen.
Okay. Do they do lamb ever?
No, it's more like sausage type meat, like kind of encased meats like that they'll use.
Oh, interesting.
Which is actually really good.
Cleaned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like kind of triangles. Depends on where you get it. But.
Okay. Nice.
I'm trying to think. I know I've really enjoyed eating at other people's homes, but I'm trying to think if I ever had anything. I always thought eating at the Nelsons was the best. Because I feel like they made some things that were different from us.
Yeah.
But they weren't too different. But I did feel like the Nelsons were a little bit exotic because they hadn't grown up in Berks County.
Okay.
And for me, that was like...
Getting out of the...
Well, and Laura did live overseas.
Oh, really?
Because her parents were missionaries.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like she brought a little exotic flair, you know?
Nice.
So that was always fun. So you went for a little bit more breaking up the yolks this time.
Yeah.
It's like a choose your own adventure every time.
Yep. Yeah, it's not meant to be too precise.
Right.
It's a little bit more like menemen now.
Yeah, it is.
It actually really is.
Yeah.
I think it's probably
I think it's
ready.
Good.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Alright, let's get in there.
Alright. I'm curious how this
Me too.
scrambled approach will be.
Ooh, it's still hot.
Yeah, it is very hot.
I'm curious about the spice.
Yeah. Well, we thirded it. Oh, that's nice. That's much less spicy.
Oh, that's very good.
I like this kind of scrambled. I think it's a little easier to pick up with the bread.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like comfort food.
It is. This is nice on a cold day.
Turned out really well.
It did. This was fun. Thanks for cooking with me.
Yeah.